Uncles in Agony. Two blokes having a chat. My name's Mike.
My name's Joe.
We'll talk about relatable stuff, add in some humour, and take it from there.
So buckle up, baby. Welcome back to Uncles in Agony.
Hello, mate. Good to see you again.
And you? How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Good. Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah, thanks, mate. What about you?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Been busy, but other than that, what have you been up to?
I'm keeping plenty busy.
Yeah.
Oh, what have I been up to? Well, I've just come back from a lovely holiday,
Yeah.
which was very much needed.
Where to?
We went to the Norwegian fjords
Oh.
for a lovely week on a cruise.
Nice.
And do you know what? When you it's been one of those holidays that you wanted to go on longer.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
know,
you weren't ready for it to end?
No. Those
Really?
holidays where you're thinking, yeah, do you know what? Let's get back now. Let's get back into it.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? If it could have gone on longer, I'd have very much welcomed it. But, all good things come to an end. Yeah, it was a lovely holiday.
Nice escape.
Yeah. So it was me and Laura went away for a week.
Nice.
Just me and her. You know, just some good
Laura's
time
your
off.
wife, yeah.
Yeah. So
No children.
no children. Yeah.
Oh.
No children. So, yeah, just kind of adult time, have a nice relax.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
What did you think of the Norwegian fjords?
Beautiful.
Yeah?
Really, really nice. And the weather was, don't get me wrong, it wasn't blisteringly, it wasn't really sunny or hot, which, to be honest, for me, that's
Perfect.
beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to do with your hair colour.
Yeah, no. The fact that I go up like tracing paper in the sun, fine, So yeah, that was very much welcome for me as well.
Nice.
But no, we did like the river rapid. No,
River tour. What was it?
No. So we did a rib boat. That's what.
Okay.
Yeah. So the kind of rib boat tour and just like literally flying along at really fast speeds and stuff going along the
too
fjords.
fast, maybe.
Yeah,
too nice
at times.
Yeah,
but no, really nice.
Yeah,
and a cruise. My go-to. You've done one as well, haven't you? So
done two.
Yeah,
both with you.
So you know what
they
about.
are fantastic.
So
did you stop every night being in the fjords? How did that work?
So it was we went from the UK. So you do that kind of first day at sea. To kind of work your way up the towards the fjord.
Up past,
yeah. So and then literally it was every day at a different stop.
Oh, no.
We, unfortunately, just due to weather, I think the wind, was the main issue. We had to miss one stop. So we spent one extra day at sea on that time.
Yeah.
But, no, do you know what? We saw, we got to go and see the glacier and stuff. So that
Lovely.
Was, really nice to kind of walk up there, the scenery, and then to see it. Very nice, very tranquil.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was...
What was your favourite stop? Did you have one? Did they differ much? Or were they all sort of similar?
It is fairly similar. Yeah, it is fairly similar. But I think for me, the main one was just I think it was, I want to say Onga. I could be wrong now. I need to look. I should have looked this up.
Bit embarrassing.
It may have been Onga, I think.
Is that where the glacier was?
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, that was by far the best one for us.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah, it just allowed us that time to de-stress, mate.
Yeah,
really.
relax.
Yeah, just really, take that week out, have a bit of a reset,
That's important.
It is.
It's needed.
Yeah.
Definitely needed.
Yeah.
But
what about you?
It's just the same old work and uni. Whenever I'm not at work or uni, I'm almost like too fatigued to want to do anything proper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. Got to get on with it. It's going to be a busy couple of years, as we've discussed previously. So crack on, and sort of get it done. But yeah, it can be stressful.
So I think that's going to be our topic of discussion. We've decided, haven't we, today? We're going to talk about, what's kind of causing us stress in everyday life. What we think kind of make things better. For these kind of stressful situations and just moreover, I think the kind of stressful lives as they can be, really.
Yeah, because day-to-day life's stressful.
Yeah, just the run-of-the-mill stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, anything from, you know, just the kind of commute to work to having a
making sure your car's workable.
Yeah. You know, the kind of mountain of things that you've just got task after task
never
after task.
ending.
And I think just, you know, that kind of more kind of unrelenting feeling that often comes, which is what causes, you know, quite a lot of stress in that thing. So
definitely.
I think we're going to have a bit of a chat today about what kind of makes it, you know, what makes it better and worse.
Yeah.
And what we perhaps do to, I think the word's cope at times, isn't it?
Yeah, manage it, isn't it? It's all about managing stress.
Management.
And even just from us two, you'll see that everybody has different ways of managing it and dealing with it.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to note.
Yeah.
Just because we do a certain thing doesn't mean that'll work for everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think stress, I mean, of course, it's very situational, isn't it? It can be very dependent on the person's given situation, what's going on at the time.
Yeah.
What about the things that I think everyone, you know, what's everyone kind of facing as the kind of stress, you know, what kind of
at the moment,
causes?
I think a lot of people's stress will be financial. The cost of everything's going up.
Yeah, definitely.
Wages aren't.
No.
That's very stressful.
Yeah.
Day-to-day work life is stressful. Trying to manage everything is stressful. Manage your house, manage your social life, your downtime, your passion, your hobbies. It's stressful. One of the things I stress about the most is stuff that's not even happened yet.
Yeah.
How's that right? Do you know what I mean? I'm already stressing about something that's not and could not ever happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that although we might end, you know, you could end up leaning into a different side of, you know, kind of like stress, and then does that kind of cross over into kind of more, you know, like an anxiousness about
definitely,
you know, anxiousness stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
well, they all go hand in hand, don't they? But they're such broad topics,
and often when you become so continually stressed, because you are, I feel, when you're left in a kind of continual and even sometimes perpetual state of stress, you know, does that kind of invoke and a kind of an anxiety, because you are thinking, right, I'm dealing with this. Okay, well, I'm going to try as almost a kind of a coping mechanism. What's next then? So if I try and, you know, get ahead of it, if I try and stop it dead in its tracks before it becomes a problem or an issue, you know, which, it's a fine balance, isn't it? Is that
hard
productive
balance,
or is that counterproductive? There's a fine line to that.
Sometimes it'll be one, sometimes it'll be the other.
Yeah,
that's life. So what stresses you out? What stresses Mike out?
Oh, for me, the first things that
Let me just take a note of this.
Yeah. What stresses me out? I think sometimes. What can be really stressful sometimes is family life. Sometimes can be stressful.
Yeah.
You know, 2 young children, as lovely as they are, you know, they can be very demanding at times. And I think, you know, a lot of people, you know, with young families, I'm sure would agree that the kind of the demand, the kind of attention that is required, you know, that in itself, if you're given any kind of activity, job, whatever you might want to call it, and you're doing it, and it's quite a demanding job, that can turn into a kind of degree of stress. And what you might then consider, you know, trying to do every day other run-of-the-mill tasks and jobs just becomes that little bit more difficult in a sense. So that for me is a big element of you know, stress. They can be, but, you know, having said that, the other flip side of that coin is, you know, when you do have a bit of downtime, you haven't got something going on or something that needs doing, you then just want to kind of go down the beach, you know, with my boys and stuff like that. That in itself then is the stress reliever, you know? So, so that's a big one, I think, you know, family. For me, is that kind of, you know, the young family. Other than that, you know, work is quite stressful. And even anything from, you know, even sometimes the kind of commute to work with, you know, like traffic and things like that. And you just think, oh, do I need this? Is this the is this the kind of straw that broke the camel's kind of back, you know, when you just, and again, like you've just said, you're kind of almost preempting a stressful day ahead, aren't you? You're not, you know, you get to a point where you're not thinking, oh, okay, it's now become a stressful day. You're thinking it will become a stressful day, so I'll start stressing early.
Yeah. How can it be that when you're stressed, you get stuck behind the slowest driver? And you get stuck. There's roadworks everywhere, and you're at every red light you get stuck at. Why is that a thing?
It always turns for you, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's green. Oh, and there we go. And
it doesn't make sense, every single time. And do you know what else really annoys me?
Go on.
When I'm stressed, when I walk past the door, something like an item of clothing will get caught on the door handle every time. Oh, mate!
And don't you kind of immediately get angry at it? That's the kind of stress response, isn't it? I think you're very high. You become quite highly strung. Your fuse becomes short, and you know, definitely, you know, for me, you know, a door doesn't close properly or something. You hit it a couple of times, and as something as silly and almost menial as that, it kind of almost flares you, doesn't it? And you become kind of, what might you call it? Almost hyper reactive to something very, well, nothing really. What should
I
be
don't
nothing.
get it. I don't. Oh, you've had a stressful day at work. Let's add a little rattle to the door in your car. Do you know what I mean? Like, why has that started doing that? But every single time. I'm glad it's not just me. I thought it was just me that happens to.
No. I know exactly where you're coming from with those. You know, just you know, stuck in a queue somewhere, or you know, waiting in line for something, and then all of a sudden your kind of tolerance of just, you know, what would you do normally if you weren't stressed? Well, you know, you'd have to think about what's going on. You'd take in what's happening around you. When you're bothered by something, when you're stressed about something, nothing else matters other than what's my objective? Why am I here? Can I get it done right now? And that's all that matters.
Why is Doris doing her weekly shop in the petrol garage when I'm already late for work? Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of Oh,
when they just can't pick what number scratch card they want, and they've got to go through every single one. And
what's that? You just want £100 on it as well, could you? Oh, perfect. Can I borrow some so I can get on my overdraft? Yeah, brilliant. But stress, man. Stress. Gotta love it. Do you, I mean, we can only talk about from our perspective, and you don't want to diminish anybody else's job, but would you say our job in particular is stressful, or are we almost just, because that's all we know, we feel as though it's more stressful than others? I don't know. I mean, the black and white is, sometimes our job can be life and death. Sometimes.
Absolutely.
And that is stressful, isn't it?
Yeah. It's yes and no, I think. What I mean by that is, I think it's the kind of I think everyone has a capacity to deal with stress, and what can perhaps sometimes change, whether it be over, when I think about myself, over the course of, you know, as I've got older, and you know, you kind of get more responsibility put on you, you know, whether it be family, whether it be you kind of go up in your career, so therefore there's more responsibility, more commitments, and so on and so forth. You're kind of, it's almost like your bottle of stress, it just becomes continually fuller than, you know, perhaps when I think, and when I was 16, 17, 18, where what kind of worries and real concerns did I have? Well, have I got enough for beer tokens this week? That was my, you know, would I have enough to enjoy going out this weekend? I guess there would have been maybe a few other things, but, you know,
it's all relative though, isn't it? It's all relative, and that's the thing.
It's relative, isn't it? So you could be, you know, you can be in a corporate job, I guess, and you could be the CEO of a company with the weight of, you know, the profits, and, you know, what's the expenditure, and, you know, all the wages
and hundreds of people's lives, you know, their wages.
Exactly. Almost, you've got the bear of everyone's livelihood on the success of what the decisions you make. So that in itself, although in our situation, it's not directly a life and death kind of situation, but actually you realize the stress is the consequence of what you do or don't do can have an impact on others. And, you know, perhaps that for everybody, well, that does relate to just having those any commitment, whether it be a young family, whether it be you're, you know, in a corporate job, whether or not you work in, you know, like us in kind of healthcare on top, there is weight on your shoulders, isn't it? And that's fundamentally stress. It's weight on your shoulders.
But I mean, even, well, I say even, but not, you know, someone working at McDonald's, right, at the drive-through, when the drive-through gets busy and someone at the front's giving them loads of attitude, you think, I don't need that stress. It's nothing to do with them.
No.
Like, you know, so it's all relative and everyone has different stresses, but we can only obviously talk about what we know.
Yeah.
And that's being frontline ambulance clinicians.
Yeah. And then, you know, what do you think? So from the job perspective, what do you find has made, or what makes that stress worse for you in the job? What do you think?
It's a hard one, isn't it? So to start with, I would say I'm quite lucky in the sense that once I finish my shift and I drive away from work, I forget about it.
Yeah,
unless something catastrophically bad's happened,
of course,
or you know,
something.
It's really, a bad job.
Yeah, something really serious.
Yeah, then I'm pretty good at leaving it.
Yeah,
and I think it helps being in a uniform because it's almost like putting on a costume. I find.
Yeah.
So you're not an actor, but you put on a bit of a facade, I think, when you're at work. So I find that's a big thing for me, being able to leave it at work and move on from it.
Yeah.
I suppose if you ever feel as though you've not done your best for someone, that's what stresses me out.
Yeah.
And that ties in with the whole work and shift work, being busy out of work, you know, you're being your third night shift in a row, you're absolutely knackered. And you might say something that you think, oh, why? I shouldn't have said that. Or could I have done a little bit more for that person? That's what stresses me out. Because I think it's important to look at it, you know, how would I want to be treated, or how would I want my family to be treated?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we're all guilty of not doing our best because of fatigue, stress, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then that sort of just exacerbates my stress.
Yeah. Do you know, I think on that, so a good point is, and I think this relates to our job in particular, whether or not it's kind of someone, you know, like you said, working in McDonald's and, you know, that they've got, you know, loads and loads of customers coming in. It's really busy and the demand is really high.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
And that's the same, I think, you relate that to our job.
Yeah.
You, like you've exactly said there, you want to feel you've done everything you could have done. And that's what causes the stress, where if there's points where you think, oh, could I do anything? Could I be better? Could I have done this instead?
Yeah.
So although it's good to be, I guess, self-reflective, and everyone should think, you know, okay, that's been stressful. Why was it stressful? Yeah. Could I have avoided that by doing anything different?
Definitely.
Or actually, if and when it does happen again, what will I do different to either make it better or prevent it entirely?
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of exactly the same, whereby, you know, when you've got someone in quite a lot of distress, you know, you've got a patient, they're very much in distress, you want to make that, you want to make that stress, that distress, that pain, whatever it might be, you want to make it better for them. That's your job. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, the number of times you kind of beat yourself up. I mean, I've done that. Yeah. Where you go, what, you know, could I have done something better or different?
Yeah.
And actually, there's points, and I think you can reflect this in your everyday life, where you think you've got to take stock of, no, actually, I have done everything. Yeah. There's nothing else that was available to me. If there's learning to be done, okay, great. I think we never stop learning. We always develop, but we've actually got to accept that actually that stress, it won't change anything at times. There's nothing more you could have done.
No.
And as long as I think and this is the important thing, I think, with managing stress, you've got to just review that and realize it.
Yeah.
And I think kind of accept that element to, do you know what? I did everything I could.
Yeah.
And even when that situation, whether or not you're in that busy retail environment or, you know, you're in the kind of healthcare setting, whatever it may be, you've done what you've done what you could, and it's time to kind of, you know, leave that leave that uniform behind you. Go home from your job in retail.
Yeah.
Put that uniform away and do the same. And that's it. Do the same in our job.
But we're all guilty of it, aren't we? I think as humans, we are. For example, we could do 6 jobs in a day in the ambulance service. 4 of those 6 could say, "Oh, you've really helped me. You've been brilliant. Thank you." You're like, "Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's our job." Blah blah blah. One person could have a little dig at you and be like, "Why aren't you helping me?"
Yeah,
or so on, and that's the one that you'll think about.
Yeah,
you'll ignore the 4 ones that have praised you and said, "Oh, you've really helped me."
Yeah,
you'll worry about the one where you feel as though you could have done more or you should have done more, etc. So I think we're guilty of almost worsening our own stress at times. But I think that's just human nature, isn't it? Do we all do that? Are we all guilty of that?
I think we are. Yeah. And it's important to remember that, in a way, stress is a natural thing. Isn't it? There's no way anyone that thinks I can become stress-free.
Yeah.
I think you've got the kind of wrong mindset.
And that's all the whole relative thing.
Yeah.
You just stress about different things.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be a multi-billionaire living on an island, but you could be stressing that, our private dock's not quite big enough for our mega yacht.
Yeah.
Which to us, think that's mental.
What are you on
but
about?
To them, that's relative. That's their stress.
That's their relative. Yeah.
Not bad stress to have, but it's still stress. I mean, we all have stress. You can't escape stress.
And there's always that element of, you think, oh, well, I'd rather be in those shoes kind of thing, like you say. But it all points back to what's relative and kind of what you can change and do about it.
Yeah.
What do you do to de-stress?
What do I do to de-stress? See my mates, spend time with Lola, play computer games. I find a good escape, listen to music, keep myself busy, I think. I'll sometimes, if I'm aware that something's stressing me out, if I can do something to help, I think I'm pretty good at trying to acknowledge that and cracking on and doing it.
Yeah.
But obviously, you can't always get rid of a stress or deal with a stress. It's about managing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, if you can't do something to affect it, find something to escape it for a little bit. That's how I deal with it. Yeah. Playing computer games or, like I say, keeping myself busy. What about you?
For me, I would say I do like to kind of mull it over for a period. And it's purely a habit. I don't know if it's a good one all the time.
What do you mean by that?
So I will, if something is kind of stressing me, I will often try and break it down.
Okay.
And almost try and understand all the parts of those
that is you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That is you, that is you as a person.
And it's only, I think, when I can make sense of it.
Right.
But what I would say, it's like anything we're going to really discuss. Everything comes with balance.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You can do too little of something. You can do too much of something. And in this case, I would say I am guilty of sometimes overdoing that.
Right.
And I think that comes back to it's almost maybe a behavioural change I've got to do to think, no, okay, give it some time. And this is the thing, it's how you grow and develop. If something hasn't gone as great, if something could have gone better, I am someone who goes, well, I want to learn and I want to make sure I do something, rather than just, that's not ideal, but move on. Oh, it's happened again. We'll just deal with it again then. I would go, right, I do want to make sure I can do something about that next time. So I will kind of be critical about the situation or even about myself involved, if I'm directly as part of that stress. But I would say I'm often too...
Have you got an example of that?
In the context of work, if I have, been to a patient that's kind of been in quite and that they're struggling with their mental health. That's one thing that jumps out to me. It's a very tough kind of type of job to deal with because I think we can be so less equipped in a way from a professional standpoint to, of course you need to see the absolute professionals for patients in those kind of positions. to see the specific speciality, the professional help.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but that is our job, isn't it?
Yeah.
We are a jack of all trades, master of none. 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's sort of what we're doing with the podcast as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. But okay, so a mental health patient.
And so, that can be such a difficult situation because you're trying to, understand what is happening for that patient. Yep. So you can, and all you can really do in a lot of these situations is be there.
Yeah.
You aren't there to resolve that problem, that the reason that they are in that position, because you can't. And often I can become self-critical because when you're trying to have that discussion with them, to just help them, they're there and then in that window that you're there.
Yeah.
Almost every word you say matters.
Yeah.
And one sentence to the next.
And every word you don't say matters as well.
Yeah. And that can be one. And yeah, of course, although, I wouldn't give kind of a more specific detail about any situation, I think I have kind of come away going, oh, do you know what? Could I have just maybe worded that a little bit different? But that's always the challenge, isn't it? It's almost like going to an interview, isn't it?
Yeah.
And going, well, there's your question. You've got to respond now.
Yeah.
And you walk out of that interview going, oh, why didn't I say that?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Certainly is.
But in the kind of stress element, that's the part where I think I could have done that a little bit better.
Yeah. So would you say with something that isn't like an interview or a job at work where once it's done, would you say that stops you from doing stuff? For example, like starting this podcast, would you say that because you're so critical of it and you think we haven't got hindsight, do you know what I mean? Like in the present moment. So does it stop you from doing stuff, worrying that you are going to reflect back thinking, I should have done this instead? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. And so does it kind of make you more apprehensive?
Yeah.
I think is absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's almost that you want to make something, you want it to be the best on the first shot.
Yeah.
And to again, like the balance, isn't it? You can try and over plan. Like you say, like even in an interview, you can really go down one tangent of I'll prepare for all of this, thinking that's the way it's going to go. And then when you get to said interview, you don't get a single question in the area that you've prepared yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not saying, of course, don't prepare yourself, but you've got to be, I think, aware that, well, you aren't in control of a lot of these stresses, are you?
Yeah.
And the things that are going to happen, you can only control so much of it. And that's the other part I think I'm guilty of, is wanting to control or trying to gain control of absolutely everything you can. And do you know what? It's not possible to do that. It is not possible to envisage everything, to think about every potential and prepare yourself for every potential.
Easier said than done, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is easier. And the flip side to that is being so laid back that it appears like you don't care about anything. Do you know what I mean? And I think I can be guilty of that, sort of looking like I'm not really that interested or that I care that much.
Yeah.
Just because I'm maybe a little bit more like, act now, worry later.
Yeah.
Where you're much more worry now, maybe act, maybe don't act later. Depending on what you worry about.
I'd probably agree. I would agree.
And I think it's about finding that balance, isn't it? And some things are going to work better for certain things, and the opposite for the other.
Yeah.
But that's all part of stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you deal with stress then? What is your
my I think dealing with stress is first, again, like I was saying, it's try and make some sense of it.
Yeah,
is number one. But then, what do I do? To, let's say, de-stress on these things. And I think that's then important to put your time into anything you enjoy. So for me, that is going to the gym. That is kind of having that me time to do something where I feel like And that's I think what a lot of what I like to do. It's about doing something I enjoy, and where you feel there's an achievement connected to it often. So I think that's the biggest driver for me with the gym side of things is, you get that great release from doing the gym. I enjoy doing it from the perspective of it being a hobby. It gives me, alone time with some music just to kind of let things subconsciously kind of work themselves out. Almost like you're sleeping, but you get that subconscious, things are just ticking over in the background. You're concentrating on something, and it just feels like you're getting that flow of relief. Really, that's kind of what I get.
There is scientific reasoning, isn't there, behind why exercise and going to the gym are beneficial for you mentally. Other than physically,
it's all about those endorphins.
There's definitely logic behind that.
Yeah,
but what about like every day-to-day stress, like running a house, having a family? Is that how you would? Is that your coping mechanism?
That's one. I mean, but yeah, of course, you only do that. You can only do that so much. Of course, you're not like you can go to the. You go to the gym for only so long. You're talking like an hour or so, and then after that, that's it. You're pretty spent, as it were. And above and beyond that, it's just having a chat, like now. Like now, where you can just go, let the valve off. The pressure comes out, and you just naturally feel better for it.
You do.
And I think, and that's the thing. I think with people even listening, just listening to this, being away from all the other elements of their stresses, considerations and problems and all the rest of it.
Definitely.
And just almost listening to others in a similar situation.
I think also a good one is knowing that you're not the only person that's going through it. Like I've mentioned to you before, financially I am terrible with money. And as a way of sort of dealing with that, I started watching videos on other people talking about it. And how they managed it and that was so beneficial for me. Because you sort of think like, why am I so bad at this? Why am I so stupid with how I manage this and do this? But then you listen to other people and you think, no, that makes sense. They're doing that because of this reason. That's totally, I get that now. So hopefully sort of people will get that sort of vibe with this. Being a dad is stressful.
It absolutely can be. Definitely. And I think as rewarding, and as rewarding as it is, it does deliver that kind of element of, the kind of stress and demand, as I've said, really, that, that comes coupled with it.
Has there been an element of your life that's been the most stressful part? Can you pinpoint like a year or a certain stage of your life where you were at your most stressed?
The most stressful, I would probably say the one that really jumps out to me is when I took the transition really from my old career, and I left my career to come and basically become a paramedic.
That was the most stressful.
And the reason being, so there's kind of, it's been over like 10 odd years now that I've been qualified now as a paramedic. So I went from a good job, I was kind of a manager in retail, I was on a good salary in a good standing company, doing well, and even with progression, on the cards, and that kind of all sitting there. And so I made, a real big jump from a really good salary to having absolutely nothing, going to be a full-time student at university. As a mature student, I moved away from family and home. I moved essentially hundreds of miles away. So from immediate friends, from family, from my job.
From everything you know.
Absolutely. I mean, even to the point of, and in a sense, you move then down into kind of, university halls and everything. So everything fundamentally in my life changed at that point. So the finances, the element of the uncertainty increased because you went from having a good job to having no job.
Yeah.
With then even no definitive promise of even at the end getting a job. Although you knew it was a good likeliness.
Yeah.
There was certainly no,
if you pass everything.
Yeah. and even that. So again, going from, not doing any form of education for 7 years to a higher level of education, so all those factors of basically upsticking everything of your life on a bit of a dream, on a realistic one. Don't get me wrong, a realistic dream. But so you kind of do, in a sense, put all of your eggs in one basket. So I would say for me, that was, and that, people say even from just moving home is one of the most stressful things that you can do. So doing all of that at the same time.
How did you deal with it?
With difficulty.
Did you?
Yeah. And I will definitely, would I say there were parts where I found it a real challenge? Definitely. Yeah. Massive, massive challenge.
Yeah.
At times did I kind of need to reach out to people just for kind of reassurance and, definitely. And I remember kind of friends and things like that at the time, 100% without that. Would the outcome been a little bit different? Would it have worked? I dare to think, but for me, that was such. I'll always kind of remember that, and I'll remember kind of pivotal points of doing that.
Oh, really?
And and I remember even being in a position where having to take a job as well, although it wasn't. It wasn't going to university for that type of course being full time. It didn't support you work. No. There wasn't the time. No. But in my situation, I had to. Or it was do that or fail, because I couldn't balance finances and that at the same time. So that was a real big eye opener.
It's important, isn't it, having that network?
100%. Yeah.
I can't imagine how hard it must be for people that don't have that network.
I daren't kind of put any degree of figure on it, but it must be 10 times harder.
Yeah, it must be.
At the least. And although I like to kind of pride myself in going, I will be the first person that will do everything I can before I then go, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And sometimes is that, my own self-critical review.
Yeah.
Could I...
It's pride as well.
Yeah, exactly. And could I not put as much stress on myself by reaching out sooner?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I can't, like you've probably hit the nail on the head there. Pride wants you to carry yourself as much as possible, because that's what I've done. That's what I've always done. But there have been points where you kind of go, there is only so much, and this is the point with the stress, there is only so much you can do. You need to then kind of, reach out in that sense.
And also, I think it's probably important to note that reaching out to your friends and family is very good. But if you need more than that, seek help.
Yeah.
Proper
absolutely.
help.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's very good and necessary.
Yeah.
If you need it, reach out for it.
Yeah.
But I think having that network around you is very good. As long as it's a supportive and good network. The flip side is having people around you that aren't beneficial to you, which I think we've probably all been in, where we've had a group of friends that actually you think they're a good laugh and we have, great nights out, but are they benefiting me, helping me develop and achieve more as a person? No. So it's important to sort of try and distance yourself from that negative influence and support network as well.
Yeah. And and on that, it's, definitely, because it's having that close group that within a network that you can go, do you know what? I can kind of confide in you with,
definitely,
as much as you are, of course, comfortable in confiding.
Yeah.
But it's being aware of who are your inner circle, who are your outer circle, and who are the acquaintances in your life, and knowing who's in what little ring, really.
I think as you get older, you start to notice that more as well. You become more aware of who you can trust.
Yeah.
Who is that inner circle.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, who to sort of keep more at a distance. And I think that comes with age and obviously maturity. But yeah, stress, man.
Stress.
It's horrid. But it's something we all go through. We all deal with or try to deal with. I don't think there's no secret answer to it, is there? Stress. I don't think we're ever going to escape stress.
It's not about it's not about escaping it. It's purely about realizing it and managing it, and using everything available to you to make it less of an impact in your day-to-day life, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, it is hard. But there's help out there.
There is.
There's people to chat to your mates, your family. I mean, talking from experience, it's very easy to keep it within yourself and to bottle it up and to not open up. And if you've got the right people around you, opening up is the best thing you can do, because they'll support you, they'll help you, and they'll be there with you every step of the way, you know?
Definitely.
And that also will play into anxiety and depression and further episodes we do. But having that good support network is so important, man. But yeah, it's such a broad topic that you're never going to cover it all in one 40-minute episode, are you?
No, absolutely.
But yeah, reach out if you need help. 100%. Reach out to us if you need help.
Yeah.
Don't know how, but, you know, talk to someone. People care.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, people do care. You know.
Right, well, thanks for tuning in on this
thanks
episode.
For listening.
We'll wait for the next one.
Yeah.
And
we'll speak to you then.
Right, I'll catch you later, John.
Good to see you, mate. Take it easy. Stay stress-free.
And you, pal.
We'll cut that out.